Thank you very much. Unlike last time, I'm not able to prepare a PowerPoint, so I would like to apologize for that. But I think I can share my just the reading, so we'll all have a copy of the reading. I'll try to share it if it's possible. If not, maybe yeah, it is possible. Here, can you see it?
Yes.
All right, great. Has everyone tried to read at least a portion of the text or the whole text for tonight? Anyway, we'll try to go over the text. We'll read it paragraph by paragraph, and then we'll try to have some sort of conversation about the text. And although I am the assigned sharer for tonight, I am hoping that others will also join me in this conversation. That way, I don't have a monopoly of the discussion. You're all welcome to pitch in if there is something that is familiar or something that you think is worth sharing, and then just feel free to interrupt me anytime. All right? Okay. So tonight's theme is on empowerment and deliverance, right? And we begin with this quotation. I'm just gonna pick at random from those who are present. If you could just, from my screen now, I'll just call you by your name. I hope you don't mind. All right. The screen that I'm seeing now, I'll try to pick those whom I don't know, and maybe my first time to see these people. All right, let's hear from Lillian, please.
Thank you. Thank you. Good evening. Okay, I'll start with the article, Empowerment and Deliverance. Oh, do I read this as well?
Just the 4 lines.
Okay.
Cover quotation.
Yeah, sure. Thank you. Empowerment refers to spiritual strength and experience. One is empowered when one feels a sense of spiritual invigoration.
All right. So empowerment refers to spiritual strength and experience. One is empowered when one feels a sense of spiritual invigoration. So nowadays, when we hear the word empowerment, it somehow gives us the fuel to do something, to feel good about the self, to accomplish a certain goal, right? And so coming from that perspective, let's try to see what is meant by empowerment through the words of Venerable Master Xing Yun, right? And through this quotation, empowerment is being related to a sense of spiritual strength and experience, wherein one feels a sense of spiritual invigoration. So it's always highlighting on something that is spiritual. And so tonight, as we have this conversation, we'll try to unpack exactly what is meant by empowerment. How is it that it talks about spiritual strength or spiritual invigoration? And what is its relation to deliverance? So 2 terms that we will be examining tonight. And these are such awesome terms, empowerment and deliverance. All right, now let's move on to the first paragraph. Okay, so again, I would like to call on Paul. Please read just the first paragraph of the text.
Okay, thank you. Most Buddhists chant sutras and prostrate to the Buddhas in the hopes of receiving the empowerment of the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. Empowerment refers to spiritual strength and experience. One is empowered when one feels a sense of spiritual invigoration. For example, a child who is bullied is empowered through his mother's support and encouragement. In a temple, people are empowered when their fears are alleviated from prostrating to the Buddha and listening to the words of the wise. In the aftermath of a disaster, victims are empowered and their safety assured through the relief aid provided by the government.
All right, so here in the first paragraph, we have several instances, examples from where we can actually experience some sense of empowerment. And so the first line says, most Buddhists chant sutras and prostrate, when you do the bowing and the kneeling in front of the Buddha, in the hopes of receiving the empowerment of the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, right? And well, generally, um, this is seen as being face to face, or having that connection with the divine, wherein we look at the notion of the Buddhas and the Bodhisattvas as something transcendental, as something divine. And so we have a sense of respect, a sense of veneration, and therefore we bow and then we kneel. So we offer prostrations to the Buddhas and the Bodhisattvas. Now, empowerment refers to spiritual strength. So upon giving our veneration, our respect to the Buddha, upon kneeling down and doing the prostrations, we are somehow fueled by a spiritual strength that enables us to do something. Okay, it's like we are filled with such spiritual zest, right, and invigoration. And so there are many aspects here, like, for example, just to make us be more comfortable with the term empowerment, say, for example, at home, right? For those mothers out here, I'm looking at Luisa and Sheila and the rest. Okay. You have kids, right? And so what do you do when you have kids? You reassure them when they're about to take a test, for example, when they're about to say, to venture into the world on their own, right? Or when they are feeling down and just need your support, you try to like talk to them and reassure them that things will be okay, right? And you're trying to reassure them that, no matter what happens, you got their back. And that whatever happens in life, well, you always get experience out of it, right? And so you reassure them, and you tell your kids that it's okay. That's giving them a sense of empowerment. Now at the temple, for example, well, as what we mentioned just a while ago, our reverence to the Buddha and the Bodhisattva, when we do our kneelings, our bowings, our prostrations, it gives us again a sense of strength to face our everyday life. I remember before, when I was just new with my affiliation with the temple, I would see some friends, without naming names, that is, when they're in a lot of trouble or they feel like they are at a crossroads in their lives, they would often just mention the name Amitabha, Amitabha, and just, the mala beads, right? And somehow that gives them a sense of perspective, that gives them a sense of peace, and it gives them a sense of strength to go on with whatever it is that they are facing. So the temple gives us that, most especially our reverence to the Buddhas and the Bodhisattvas. Right. In the last line of that first paragraph, it talks about an aftermath of a disaster, for example, can also be an avenue for empowerment. And just now we were just talking about typhoons, a typhoon that is. And it ravaged, I know someone from Samar, and it ravaged their areas. Not that long ago, or how many years has it been? I remember Fogwangshan had relief efforts during Typhoon Yolanda and even during the earthquake, right? So what are you doing? Well, the idea is that nobody gets left behind, and that as much as possible, you try to help. And by helping, you don't just give food, you don't just give, say, material things, but at the same time, your mere presence can actually offer a sense of reassurance, a sense of empowerment, like the pandemic that we are in right now. Okay. On top of whatever, say, because again, no, there is no, I understand that there is no forcing, but for those who would like to avail of the vaccine, by all means go. For those who do not, then don't, right? There's no forcing. And you can just offer your presence and your kind words, and that will go a long way. That is a sense of empowerment, right? In the temple, whether you're at the temple, or you're at home, or you're at work, or you are faced with a certain disaster. The three acts of goodness is, one of the ways wherein one can have that sense of empowerment. And notice from the first paragraph, just by the first paragraph, that we are talking about empowerment from different aspects. And right now, we are trying to draw that sense of empowerment as coming from, say, from at home, from your parents, if you're at the temple, from the Buddhas and the Bodhisattvas, from our veneration to them, and from anyone who is able to give reassurance and lend a hand from any given context or situation. Right. Now, okay, let's go to the second paragraph. Let me call on Mr. Herman.
Thank you.
Please read the second paragraph, sir.
Likewise, sentient beings who may be timid in nature and lacking in strength rely on faith as well as empowerment through the strength, thoughts, compassion, and spirit of others. When one prostrates to and has faith in the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, one is guided and empowered by them. The power of the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas helps calm one's body and mind, strengthens one's faith and energy, and develop one's wisdom and ability to resolve difficulties.
All right, thank you so much for reading. So in the second paragraph, it focuses on sentient beings, right? It focuses on sentient beings. Sentient beings who may be timid in nature and lacking in strength, rely on faith as well as empowerment through the strength, thoughts, compassions, and spirit of others. Okay, so again, empowerment here is lifted from what others are able to offer. So this others here could be your friend, could be your family member, it could be that guy from across the street, that person you don't know, because Buddhism has this sense of interconnectedness and being related to each other. So we are not just one person in isolation. So even if like I'm in my room now, right, and there's this pandemic going on, but we are somehow connected, right? Even if I'm just here, the clothes that I wear, for example, the food that I eat, it was through another person. It was through the effort of another. Okay. And even if you say, I'm really timid, I'm shy, I cannot do that, I'm painfully embarrassed, there's nothing good in me that could possibly, affect another person. No, there's no such thing. There is always something to offer, right? Even if you say, no, everything is so bad, everything is so negative. No, there is always a silver lining, right? And we always have to direct our focus on that. So empowerment through the strength, thoughts, compassion, and spirit of others. So in the temple, we are taught of giving convenience, right? So can you help me, like, refresh my memory? What are the conveniences? The exact term skips me right now, but when you give others happiness, maybe Luisa can help me here. She knows this by heart. When
Joy,
you give,
confidence,
yes, Sir Erwin, there you go.
Okay, go ahead. Go.
joy, confidence, convenience, and hope.
Yes, and we call that
Forgivings.
the four givings. There you go. When we give each other hope, we don't have to have a PhD degree to do that, right? You just have to be present. You just have to give your time, right? You don't have to have a lot of money to do that. You don't have to have a car or a big house. Your mere presence is there. And so sometimes we take it for granted that just by being there, it doesn't cost much, right? It can actually empower people. Um, Another thing when it comes to from this paragraph, it also talks about when one again prostrates to and has faith in the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, one is guided and empowered by them. So because of our faith to the Buddhas, to the Bodhisattvas, it calms our bodies, it calms our minds, and it somehow gives us that strength, and it develops wisdom to resolve trials and difficulties. And so sometimes, because of the confusion that seems to be going on around us, we really don't know what's going to happen. And the Buddhism has a very, very nice terminology for that somehow takes away all the negativity. When you say confusion, the term that I'm talking about is impermanence, right? When we realize the fleetingness, the transitoriness of existence, when we are faced by uncertainty and change, then it's something that, um, what are we going to do? And so for some people, they go to the Buddhas, they prostrate, right? And have a sense of, for others, they have some sense of prayer, some sense of they offer their time, right? I thought someone was trying to ask a question because there was a ting ding, so I had to check from the other screen. Okay, so this notion of impermanence, if we are left on our own, if we don't anchor our strength, for example, to the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, then it would somehow leave us as though we are groping in the dark or flailing with our existence. But because of the presence of our faith in the Buddhas and the Bodhisattvas, it somehow gives us a sense of calm, a sense of peace, a sense of equanimity. That even if you're left, right, front, back, and center, is in a disarray, you are still able to have that balance within you, right? That's a sense of empowerment. Okay, now let's go to the third paragraph. Let's see. I'm not sure if I'm saying your name correctly. Jill Say?
Jill K.
Jill K. Please
So,
read the third paragraph.
however, Buddhist devotees should not entreat to excess when prostrating to the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas in the hope of receiving a response or protection. The Buddhas and Bodhisattvas are neither the police nor prosecutors of the human world. They have transcended the mundane and do not involve themselves with reward or punishment, nor do they execute the law. In this world, unwholesome deeds are subject to legal sanctions and are not matters that the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas can interfere with. The Buddhas and Bodhisattvas are embodiments of the truth, and they will always accord with the truth rather than turn against it.
All right. It's interesting because in this next paragraph, we are given a caveat. We are given a warning. Okay. So if you were following the first two paragraphs, they capitalize on the notion of prostration to the Buddhas and the Bodhisattvas, anchoring our strength in them. And then by venerating them, we are given a sense of calm and peace. But now, amazingly, Venerable Master is telling us, however, Buddhist devotees should not entreat to excess when prostrating to the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas in hopes of receiving a response or protection. You know, it's like an ATM, right? We're frantic, we try to withdraw something. When we confused about certain things, when we don't know what to do, we try to prostrate, 10 times, 20 times, and go out and go back again 30 times, 40 times. No, don't overdo it, right? The Buddhas and Bodhisattvas are neither the police nor prosecutors of the human world. They have transcended the mundane and do not involve themselves with reward or punishment, nor do they execute the law. So you don't go to them as though they're like some magic cloak or magic shield that's going to protect you from something, right? Uh, let let's say there's something that you did that's kind of questionable, and you're concerned and you're worried, and maybe you're sorry, and you try to prostrate to the Buddha several times, 10 times, 20 times, 30 times. But then that is not the case. You cannot be too excessive with that. So in this world, unwholesome deeds are subject to legal sanctions and are not matters that the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas can interfere with. So they're not like some magic cloak or some magic wand, that when you prostrate, everything magically goes away. Okay? The Buddhas and Bodhisattvas are embodiments of the truth, and they will always accord with the truth rather than turn against it. Now, this third paragraph is really some sort of a snap of awakening to us. Probably we have been so like, it's our comfort. It's comforting for us to know that we can, there's a problem. I can just, do 3, 4, 5 prostrations, probably pray, and that's it. No, but no, actually not. This third paragraph actually tells us that this empowerment, okay, that has been ingrained in us, that has been planted in us by the idea that we get it from others, we get it from our parents, from our friends, from the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, but there is actually a deeper, a higher empowerment that should be accessed, right? And that's what the fourth paragraph is telling us, that there is such a thing as self-empowerment. Now, that's why I said a while ago, the third paragraph talks about some sense of a caveat or a warning, because we might think that it's some sort of like magic, no, just by praying to the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, that everything goes away in spite of what we have done. Fact is, we did something, good or bad. We thought of stuff. We have had certain intentions that will, generate some actions, wholesome or unwholesome, and whatever that would be, right? Praying to the Buddha and the Bodhisattva will not magically wipe it all away. So that's why I said there's a caveat. Okay. Empowerment, most importantly, should be anchored to the self. And that's what the fourth paragraph is telling us. May I call Jenny U. Blas to please read the fourth paragraph.
Unmute first.
Moreover,
Moreover, it is important to transform one's reliance from empowerment through others to self-empowerment. Faith, loving-kindness, compassion, wisdom, patience, and cultivation are all ways of self-empowerment. In the sutras, all the teachings taught by the Buddha and Bodhisattvas ultimately instruct practitioners to be self-reliant. One's karma, whether wholesome or unwholesome, good or evil, must be shouldered by oneself. The Buddhas and Bodhisattvas serve for guidance and direction. Therefore, after listening to the teachings, one should believe, accept, and practice them to rely
Forward.
to rely,
I'm sorry.
to rely solely on imploring rewards from the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas would be contrary to the law of cause and effect.
All right. Thank you very much. Wow. This is a very pointed paragraph, and there are a lot of things to unpack. So let's try to go back. So remember, from the paragraph before this, I said there's a sense of caveat or warning. So veneration to the bodhisattvas and the Buddhas is not like a license, to do anything we want, to be capricious with our actions. No, nor can it be seen as a magic wand that miraculously erases everything because we have prostrated 10 times, 20 times. Okay. So it is important to transform one's reliance from empowerment through others to self-empowerment. Again, that others there can be somebody else apart from us. It can also pertain to your parents, your friends, to the Buddhas. But that reliance, that focus should shift, right, to self-empowerment. Okay. It's like saying, why do we have to give all the credits and say all the quote unquote power to another person, to another being, when we could actually have that power, that sense of responsibility, right? That sense of empowerment to ourselves. Okay. So faith, loving kindness, compassion, wisdom, patience, and cultivation are all ways of self-empowerment. So normally, well, for example, others would always say, I have faith to this being or that being, but why not faith to the self that, hey, I can do this, right? I got this. I'm better than this, or I can be the bigger person than this. I have all the potentials and the possibilities to make or do what is the right thing. Not because of rewards, not because of expectations, but simply because it's the right thing to do. I can do that, right? Loving kindness. When was the last time you were kind to yourself? When was the last time, right, you afforded yourself that, that kind deed or kind word or even kind thought to yourself? When was the last time you stayed away from debasing yourself? Have you been exercising loving kindness to yourself? By loving kindness to yourself, I don't mean Netflix all day, because you're ruining your eyes. You're not able to exercise. The job, the assignments that you need to do will pile up. And that's doing an injustice to yourself. That's doing a disservice to yourself. That's not loving kindness at all. That's being abusive. All right. Okay. What else? Faith, loving kindness, compassion. We show our compassion to others, but when was the last time you were compassionate to yourself? These are loving kindness, compassion. These are like interrelated terms. So ask yourself, when was the last time I was kind to myself? Again, kind, I don't mean like you have an extra helping of the cheesecake, because then that would, elevate your sugar and stuff, and it's not very good. Okay. Wisdom. Sometimes, wisdom is a tricky thing because when we think of wisdom, we're saying, given everything that's going on, right? The experiences that we have, it's very, very easy to misconstrue things. It's very, very easy to get attached to something. It's very, very easy to be clingy to something when we should not, right? The Buddhism teaches us to detach ourselves, but no, it's easy to hang on and grasp and clasp and clutch, right? when we know better, right? So we should have the wisdom to apply, uphold the right understanding. Patience. Have you been patient to yourself? When was the last time you were patient to yourself? Okay. So faith, loving kindness, compassion, wisdom, patience, and cultivation are all ways of self-empowerment. Just a few minutes ago, Master Yolin texted me and she said, I might be coming down with a fever, so I will not be able to join. So I said, yeah, you have to, give yourself some rest. Be kind to your body, to yourself, because that's also self-empowerment. And then just before logging into Zoom, she was still online. I said, what are you doing? Go to sleep. Log out already. I don't know if she's still online, but yeah. So we have to practice, we have to cultivate being kind to ourselves. Again, uphold the right understanding, the right view that you will not be abusive, you will not be excessive. Remember, the Buddhist teaching is telling us the teaching of the Noble Eightfold Path, always in the middle way, not too much, not too little, not in excess, and not deficit. These things, right? Faith, loving kindness, compassion, wisdom, when it is directed to the self, it can easily be misconstrued, it can easily be abused. So we have to learn also to practice the middle way, the middle path, the virtue of moderation. Okay. And so in the sutras, all the teachings taught by the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas ultimately instruct practitioners to be self-reliant. Okay. I can do this. I got this. I am responsible for this. I can, do left or right, but what is the right thing? What are my intentions? What are my motives? Okay. Now, one's karma, whether wholesome or unwholesome, good or evil, must be shouldered by the self. Okay. And this is a very tricky thing. This line can really hold a lot of baggage, right? So probably the question that you're asking yourself now is, and I might be, entrapping myself here because this is really a very difficult question, is, right? If there is karma, whether wholesome or unwholesome, good or evil, must be shouldered by oneself. How can I shoulder that if I am already conditioned to this from the previous existences? Okay, so that's probably something that you could ask yourself. Philosophically, that's a very difficult question to answer, but maybe some of you will have some thoughts about that later in our discussion. And so the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas serve for guidance and direction. Therefore, after listening to the teachings, one should believe, accept, and practice them. Sometimes it's very difficult to practice the non-attachment, to diminish our notion of the self, because sometimes we are just too full of it, right? There's no self after all. Okay, so to rely solely on imploring rewards from the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas would be contrary to the law of cause and effect. So again, doing veneration, prostration to the Buddhas is not like a license to do what is wrong, okay? But we should be responsible by our own actions. All right, so I think this is the last paragraph. So let me just read the last paragraph. One should have faith and accept the empowerment bestowed by the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. At the same time, one should not excessively request for protection so that it overrides cause and effect. Such would be a wrong understanding and an unsuitable request. Okay. Sometimes I don't know. Here in Cebu, when it's Chinese New Year, there's the wishing tree. Those are I think also you have that in Manila. Amiel, no, you also have that in Manila, the wishing tree. All right, make a wish. I wonder what you wish for. Did come true? Baka naman excessive. The wish might have been excessive, or I don't know. You know yourself better. But I think the idea that this text is telling us is that empowerment of the self means not to be abusive, but to promote the middle path. Okay? To promote the middle path. So, what did you wish for there in your wishing tree? Is it promoting the middle path? Will the causes and conditions make it happen? Okay, so if it did not, well, think again what your wish was. Okay, so one should have faith and accept the empowerment bestowed by the Buddhas and the Bodhisattvas. At the same time, okay, one should not excessively request for protection so that it overrides cause and effect. Such would be a wrong understanding and an unsuitable request. Okay, so 45 minutes. So now open, I'm not sure, Sir Erwin, if there were questions a while ago, if there was someone who raised a hand. I'm not sure.
There's no question.
How do I
Maybe-
stop
maybe
sharing?
Amiel has.
How do I stop sharing? Or do I stop sharing or no lang?
Yeah, you can stop. You can click.
Where? Okay,
Stop
here.
sharing somewhere there.
There you go. Right. So open for questions, conversations, and Sir Erwin will answer. Master, Chi. Yes.
The topic is really very good, and you really paragraph by paragraph very clear. Agree with all? Please give her a round of applause. Then there's one thing in suddenly come to my mind. What is the different way the self-empowerment with ego? If we have so much confidence with ourselves, I can do this, I can do that, I'm better, then I'm better for this. So how about the ego?
Yeah. We get that a lot, no? When we talk about self-empowerment, we have the tendency to extend it to the extreme and say, oh, I'm good. I'm so good. No one ever comes close. I'm so good that I'm the only one for the job. And so you don't delegate at work. I'm so good that everybody else is wrong. I'm so good. That's it. Ego gets in the way. That's why I said, always stay in the middle path. Not too much, not too little, not in excess and not deficit. Do not be abusive, okay, of that sense of empowerment, because the moment you do, right, then you are not following what the teaching, what the Dharma is telling you. The Dharma is telling you apply the middle path. Let go of the self. Do not cling. Empowerment, I would like to believe, is something that should give you a sense of responsibility. But not that you would abuse it. Once you get too attached, too clingy, you know, then you're not coming from a sense of empowerment. You'd be a tyrant. But of course, you're all welcome to say something.
I think that the ego there, if for example you encourage a child, for example, to oh, that you're so good, like that and everything, encourage the child. As it is, there is a chance that the child might develop more self-centeredness or egotistic attitude. So that's why I think you mentioned this earlier as part of the article, that we have to understand also that in this world, we are all interconnected, and that no matter what, we still have to rely on somebody else. So I think if we have this kind of understanding, then it's easier to check our ego. Because as long as you understand that you need someone else, then you won't depend too much to a certain extreme on our own self, right? Because now we know that, for example, no matter how rich someone is, he still need to buy his clothes somewhere else, done by somebody else. He still need the food done by somebody else. He cannot just plant his own food just because he is rich. So if we understand these things, then the ego can be, I think we can check our ego and prevent it from, overwhelming us. Any more comments?
Um, there's a passage here that I want to share. The idea of inherent nature of the ego. So the ego here is the view of the self that's held by a mind that hasn't understood the concept of emptiness. Emptiness, cause and effect, all these concepts of non-self. So that's the ego. It's the common notion of the self as a separate entity, not connected to everyone else, not connected to causes and conditions. On the other hand, the idea of self-empowerment is the opposite of that. It's the idea of being able to do something because you're part of everyone else. Except that in this particular case, you have to do the action yourself. But you're coming from a perspective of understanding emptiness and causes and effect and causes and conditions. I think that's the difference there between ego and self. You're self-reliant when you're self-empowered. You don't rely on anyone else. You rely on the Buddha. You rely on the self. Whereas if you're egoistic, you have no idea of the Buddha, no idea of the Dharma, no idea of cyclic existence, and so you just think that you're a separate entity and you're the center of the universe. So that's my idea about the difference between the two. Thank you.
They will become the sun. They will become the sun of the planet because the center. We sleep or we wake up is according to the sun. Then we need to have the power like the sun. We also need to have the power like the moon. But I think we don't need to have the power like the typhoon. We need to have the power for the very soft wind during the summertime. I think I saw a few new members because we already start to post the poster for how well you know about Buddhism. For the information, I should do some advertisement. For the information of the new members, this is not the first day of our reading club. you might have a lot of questions, doubts. This study group, that very good because we can just ask any questions. And we have professors from Cebu. We have members from Cebu. We also have members from Malaysia, Singapore. Today, I think quite a few weeks, the two from Taiwan, they not attend. Ovin, maybe you should send a message to them.
Peter went to attend the Australian group.
Oh, how about this one more?
Leo is not here, but Kangxi, I think, is also based in Taiwan. He's here.
Hansi? No, Hansi is here.
Nancy is
Hello,
here.
I'm Kangxi. I'm from Taiwan. I'm from the Philippines.
Just his name, because his father like Kangxi Emperor, so give him the name of Kangxi.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's not emperor, but with the same name. Okay, so welcome for new members. Please don't feel shy. You just listen, and please don't feel shy when you want to ask questions. You can private chat of the speaker, which is we every week we will have different speaker. That is the specialty of this study group. Okay, Professor Match, you have more times, or Uncle Herman, you have questions or concerns? He's from Singapore.
No,
And he will be the lead for next week. Announcement first.
very challenging topic next week.
Oh no, it's just 4 realms, not 10 realms.
We're all in the Dharma realms.
Only 4, not 10, my dear.
Okay.
You have
Yeah.
questions or concerns? So that you can connect with next week, then we will come back next week also.
No, I was thinking about that. In the article, it was saying that turning the empowerment into self empowerment, right? Versus ego, right? So here we are saying that, you know, we should actually, it's not so much of an ego when we talk about self-empowerment, but rather, you know, taking the power from the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas and turning it into our self power, and so that we can, you know, do the action of self instead of just, you know, saying that, oh, okay, I wish that the Buddha would give me this power, and therefore, you know, I sit down and don't do anything, and then waiting for, you know, things to turn better, you know. Yeah, so we should actually take that power from the Buddha and Bodhisattva, you know, and turn it into our self-confidence, and therefore take the action, you know, work out the action, you know, because everything has its cause and effect. Yeah, you cannot just sit there and wait, you know, oh yeah, I am waiting for, you know, Buddha and Bodhisattva to give me the power, you know, and turn, you know, the thing into a better situation. Yeah.
Just like for our Buddhism examinations in September 22, if we don't join this study group,
September 11. September 11.
Oh yeah, sorry, September 11 is the
2 p.m.
9/11.
40 minutes only. Don't worry. And then we hope that we can get 80% without joining the study group. I don't think we can make it. And for those who already joined from the beginning until now, I think you should get above 80% because we will end the first volume until July only. So it means by September 22, you're supposed to get 100 for the exam, especially Mr. Irvin, because he's the host.
Empowerment na po.
Then you get the empowerment from the book. The empowerment is there. Okay, you want to get the power, get it there. You don't ask Professor Match, okay? You don't ask me. I cannot help you on that day. It will become cheating. Okay, so anybody else?
Hello.
Hi, Amel. You are early today.
No, Shifu, I had a class until 8:30. Okay, so I have a question because when the word empowerment was mentioned, and actually, I think, though I'm not sure if it's different, because I've encountered this word empowerment with the Tibetan Buddhist practice. So in the Tibetan Buddhist practice, it's more of you will be empowered in a certain ceremony. You will get the empowerment of a certain bodhisattva or a certain Buddha, and this empowerment ceremony that you undergo will, make you connect even better with the Buddha or that certain deity or bodhisattva. So whenever you meditate in the future, you will, the merits of that Buddha or bodhisattva, you can also apply that to yourself, or it will empower, it will go to yourself, something like that. So that's how I encountered empowerment before in terms of the Tibetan Buddhist practice. So that's the first thing that I'm confused about, because, well, in humanistic Buddhism, I understand that, yeah, the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas already transcended. So whatever we request, it's not like praying to them and they cannot really grant the request that we do. But yeah, it's confusing because in that certain practice of a certain group in Buddhism, that's how they use empowerment in relation to the deities. And I have another question because though, yeah, the Buddhas and the Bodhisattvas cannot really grant our request, there are some sutras like the Universal Gate chapter or the Amitabha Sutra that it says there that if you recite the name of Kuan Yin Bodhisattva, that if you're in a moment of suffering, then she will help you. And if they are really not existent, or in a way like the mystical Kuan Yin or something, like a Saint Kuan Yin who will come and help you, then no, I'm just confused. I don't know. So I'm just confused. Confused.
Also.
Yeah, and my question is also confusing. So it shows how confused I am.
I think this question, Uncle Herman, you can clear his confusions because I think at least compared to Singapore or Malaysia, you have a little bit know about Tibetan. How about Professor Match? Are you familiar with Tibetan Buddhism? For this kind of so-called empowerment.
I'm not very familiar with Tibetan Buddhism, but I would like to give an answer to Amiel. I'm not sure if I understand the question very well, but I think you were asking about the faith and then what does it have to do with empowerment. I'm going to share a story, something personal. Okay. Some of you here, you know that a few of you here know that last month I had the shingles and that's very painful. Okay. And it was painful and it was itchy. And also because of that, I had to ask for an academic extension in NTI because I'm studying there along with Luisa, my classmate, and Master Chi. So anyway, I had to ask for an academic extension for our deadline of assessments. But in the process of asking, I kind of told the good venerable, I said, well, it's very painful. I'm practically shouting because it's really very painful. It was in my head. So I still have the scar here and here in my heart. Anyway, then the venerable said, oh dear, let me light a candle for you. And so the following day, she sent me a picture of the candle, and it was lighted, and for sure prayers were and good thoughts were offered, right? And then probably 2 weeks after, I when I the pain was manageable, but it was still there. I sent a message to the venerable and I said, thank you for the candle. The pain now is better, meaning it's not so painful anymore. Then her reply was, but that's also because you have the faith. And so thinking about it, I said, all right, I have the faith. So, and, relating it to our topic. So what does that mean? Faith to the Buddhas that, it will alleviate the pain. The prayers from the monastics and probably everyone there who prayed and gave good thoughts and intentions that would somehow help ease the pain. And it could also be the faith, just like relating it to what we have just studied now. It could also be the faith that, well, given the antiviral medicine and the and the what's this the pain medicine to ease the pain, and that really just because it was a viral infection, after 2-3 weeks the pain would be manageable. Faith that letting nature take its course, it will really happen, and that I can do this, I can rest, I can sleep, and take a lot of rest, take a lot of sleep, and faith that it will get better. So all in all, right, the everything that I did, the prayers and the thoughts, I think that's what incorporated the faith. Also because Amiel, when you mentioned about faith, I think relating it to the text, ultimately, what Venerable Master Xingyan is telling us is, on top of everything else, have faith in yourself. But then again, don't overdo it, because that's not empowerment anymore. So something like that.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
Man, you like to
I
also
have a question for you. I have a question for you, Amel.
Oh my gosh, I'm not the speaker, Uncle Herman.
Have you ever tried practicing the so-called Tibetan, that's what you say before, or you chant, a million times?
Yeah, before.
And then suddenly the lightning will strike you, and then you will be enlightened.
You will visualize that there's a lotus flower, and then the bodhisattva sitting there, something like that.
No, did you try it out yourself?
I tried it, but only during the Sunday sessions of that particular temple, and I wasn't empowered yet, because there's really a specific ceremony. I think Jilke, hello Jilke. Yeah, I think because hello Jilke, are you here?
Yes.
I think Jilke, you tried attending some empowerment ba? Was that you or another Dharma friend that I've met on Facebook?
It's another Dharma friend.
Okay, confirmed. Another Dharma friend. Okay. Yeah, but anyway.
But I also tried
Tibetan, right?
empowerments. It's not Tibetan.
Ay, sorry. Baka Hindu siya, girl. Okay. Yes, Jilke.
My personal interpretation would be, it's not like, they ask you to chant a million times, right? Chanting the Buddha's name or
100 times Vajrasattva.
Yeah, it's not like once you reach the 1 million mark, then suddenly the lightning will come and strike you and you will be enlightened. That's not my interpretation. My interpretation would be that during the process, when you chant the 1 million time, you would then do a self-reflection on yourself, on your mind. Right? For me personally, I would tend to, I've not chant 1 million times or 10,000 times, But whenever I have afflictions, I would tend to read a sutra, or I read up on master's book. I have a whole library of master book. I treat it as an encyclopedia. So whatever affliction I have, I will go to the library, pick up master book and try to find some solution from his teachings, rather than to chant a million times.
Yeah, I think I'm on the extreme because Dr. Mage said
But of
that
course, different people will have different practice.
yeah, because it's like Dr. Mage said about like being there at the middle path, taking the middle path, not too much, not
Right.
too much chanting or prostrating, not overdoing something. I think I'm on the extreme of overdoing something, especially when I'm desperate. Because I remember when I was still in college, um, I was in I was already taking up research writing, and I really wanted to pass. So what I did, I prayed to a lot of different bodhisattvas, Buddhas, deities. So when I passed, I didn't know who to thank. Because I was confused. I prayed to, okay. I was really literally praying, asking for favors to bodhisattvas. Kuan Yin, please let me pass. If I pass, condition. Okay, I go to Kuan Yin, I go to Amitabha, I go to Sakyamuni Buddha. I even go to some, non-Buddhist, like, I go to Matsu, I go to Mama Mary, I go to a lot. I pray, literally pray. And I passed. I graduated from college. So even if I said that I didn't know who to thank, I think I I want to thank every one of them, because I think it's because of the prayers that I had that I was able to pass, because I don't know, during that time I was desperate and to I had no choice but to rely on a greater power.
Did you have time to study though? I'm just curious.
I had time to study also, but
From all your prayers.
yes, I was studying and praying. But every time I have time to pray, then it backs up my studies. Like whenever I study, I pray and then study and pray. It's like relying on something bigger than me. And now I am confused because um should I continue praying to no, not praying, like I'm not sure, because the relationship that I have, for example, between me and Kuan Yin is not more of, actually it's not the view of the humanistic Buddhism. Like they transcended, even if I said that earlier. For me it's more of like praying. It's more of I am relying to Kuan Yin and I'm praying to her to protect me, to guide me. And
Comment with
yes, Shifu. Yeah, I will pray also to Kuan Yin. Yeah,
I
so it
comment.
makes me feel confused because that's the kind of relationship that I have with the bodhisattvas and the Buddhas. Yeah. Though I know by words, by study, through study, that they are transcended beings already, and they really cannot, they are not there to grant your wishes, but I still do that. I
Luisa,
still pray to them.
Luisa, you're raising your hand. Unmute first.
I remember one time, that year I was sickly. I'm always in pain. And I don't know, I've been seeking doctors, many doctors. I don't know what to do. So I went to a temple in Chinatown, in Binondo. And, in Chinese, they have to chou qian. You have to, you check what do you call that? The sticks, or they will, you ask the
Divination.
Buddha your
Divination
question,
sticks.
the joystick, something like that, and then the answer will be given to you by pulling out a piece of something, a stick, and then the answer. Then there's a number, and then you check what is it saying, no? What is the message for you? So I remember I got one, and then I asked a monk. he's a monk, and then asked him, what is your and then he was asking me, what's your question? I said, I don't know. I want to see. No, I want to ask Kuan Yin about my sickness. Then he said, when you're sick, you see a doctor. When you're sick, you see a doctor. He told me like there's a sudden realization. Right, what he said was right. Right. So yes, we seek the guidance and from the bodhisattvas by praying and give us wisdom. But all in all, we still have to rely on ourselves. We have to rely on ourselves, diba? We have to see the doctor. We have to do what we should do. Uh, yeah. So that's what I think. We'll still have to pray because the power of prayers is still there, very strong. The power of prayer is there, and create good affinities, do good deeds, so that you will be empowered also. But I remember we have to be also self-reliant. And I would like to share you a story about my friend. No, my friend is in a wheelchair for since I know her. She is in a wheelchair because of polio. And when he grew up and already an adult, when I see her and her mom, she lives with her mom, just the two of them, and they always go to the market. And the mom pushes the wheelchair, and she goes to buy from the market, buy all anything, the groceries. It's the mother only pushing it. And when she goes home, I heard she cooks. She's the one cooking, not the mother. And I'm just wondering everything, like cleaning the house and also feeding the dogs. She have so many dogs, and she's the one doing everything. Just wondering, the mother's just beside her, just accompany her everywhere and play with the dogs. And then later on, when her mom passed away, my friend realized the reason why her mom let her do that. She wants her to be empowered because when mother it left her, how can she survive if she rely on her mother alone, right? Now she's alone, she can do everything on her own, even in a wheelchair. She can do lots of things. So she was thankful to her mom. And I realized that time I was also asking, why is the mother like that? Let her do all the things, all the stuff. She's already in a wheelchair. Later on, I realized, yeah, we appreciated the mother and we really touched on that. The love is beyond skin. No, it's skin. It's very it's deeper as deeper love. That's it. So Miel, you still continue praying, no? Kaya di ba nasa Diyos ang awa, nasa tao ang gawa pa rin. Okay? Yes.
Yeah. How
Thank
about
you.
hello? I have another question. Oh my gosh. Sorry. Can I ask the other question? Sorry. Okay. So how about the Pure Land Buddhism? It's like the other power of Amitabha Buddha. Because in the Pure Land teachings, it's more of you rely to that other power for you to be reborn in the Pure Land. Yeah, of course you have to also, yes, self-reliance, you, because you have to do something, you have to do your part, you have to do the recitation, faith, vow, and practice. But it also depends on Amitabha as well, if you have fulfilled the three conditions, whether or not you'll be reborn on the Pure Land. So
I
it's another
remember,
thing. Mhm.
Miel, why do we need to die to go to Pure Land? Why do we need to die to go to Pure Land? I think we can make our own Pure Land right now. We can have our Pure Land right, just like Buddha in this word. This is when Subhuti was asking him, this word is very impure, but Buddha said it's not. When the Buddha touched his toes on the land, on the earth, and the earth was gleaming with jewels, gems, all over sparkling. So this is my word. That's why we have to take care of the moment, enjoy what we have now, and make this the Pure Land. And of course, after we die, we also want to go to Pure Land also, but create our own Pure Land. Create our own Pure Land now, not waiting for someday. Okay.
Mel, I have a comment. I guess the reason why you have this question is because you were not able to join the first part of the article. So in the first part of the article, the discussion there is all about prostrating to the Buddha, praying to the Buddha, as giving us faith and confidence. And in the middle part, I think Mage mentioned it several times. It's a third paragraph. There, Venerable Master Xingyun warned us from becoming reliant on this, on prostrating, right? So after, on the fourth paragraph, Venerable Master Xingyun mentioned about the self-reliant. So in short, in this topic, we start from the praying, the prostrating, to give us faith and confidence. And it happened to you, it gave you faith and confidence in yourself to a point that you pass your exam. Of course, the Buddhas, the Bodhisattvas, or whoever you prayed for, they did not pass your exam for you. You were the ones who were able to do it. It's just that your prayer gave you the faith and the self-confidence that you can do it. But then again, remember, Venerable Master Xingyun remind us that we have to transform that faith to self-reliant, which is to believe, accept, and practice. So I actually noted it down here when Mage was reading the article, because I see this as something very important, because many people in the beginning, it's easier for us to just pray, right? And to give us faith and confidence. But that is not enough. Like, you're confused now, what happened? So don't just stop there. So that's the key. We don't just stop there, because that is just for us to start with the faith and confidence. But we have to transform it into belief, acceptance, and practice. Right? So if you read the article, it's there, all the steps that we need to do.
So
Right?
you don't need to confuse now. You get the help from Buddha, Allah, Kuan Yin, all the deities. Please follow what they are teaching. Then you will get it. But by the time you finish all their teaching, maybe you don't need to teach anymore, because you already spend all the time for different teaching, and then in the end, maybe we will go to mental hospital to look for you.
And so he's confused, Sapo.
Mental hospital. Too much now.
Last week, Sapo, you were saying that if you follow different teachers and teachings, you'll get confused. So exactly what Amiel was explaining today.
So I really thank you for Amil. You have this kind of confused in the beginning. And of course, we hope that from today onwards, you will not confuse anymore. Just follow one direction and choose one. I don't think you will choose others, but only Buddha. And of course, the nearest person you will choose is Venerable Master Xingyun, which is already here inside the booth. Okay, since you want to go to the Pure Land, wherever Pure Land you want to be, we have 10 directions. You can go any direction, but please make sure choose one first.
Even the Pure Land, Sapo, you have to choose one, right?
Because by the time
You have to choose one, true.
because by the time we die, you still confused, and you only have 7 days to choose. Then after 7 days, you cannot choose. Then in the 7 day, you have 10 directions. Each direction has so many Buddhas. Then you even worse. Oh, which one I should go? By the time you want to choose, times end. Then who will lead you? Come on. Okay. So we have to choose. That's why Venerable Master Xing tell us that we have to choose the school and then follow the school. If you think that Tibetan Buddhism, that you think that the way that they teach you will give you empower, just go there. Just go there. But you need to choose the right master, because Tibetan Buddhism, they are more complicated than the humanistic Buddhism. In the beginning, they will teach you, you need to chant the mantra, you need to chant this and that. But in Buddhism or humanistic Buddhism, we say that this is just one of the cultivation way, but it just cultivate for us to gain our merit, to have our karma, to have the connections in the future with Buddha. But that is not sure yet you will become humans. If we want to become the humans, we still have a lot of practice. If we follow the Tibetan has their ways for you to become the Buddha or the human in the next time. But in humanistic Buddhism, there's another way. In Xiaochen, or we call Theravada, or sometimes we call if you follow the practice in Thailand, there's another way also. Okay, for Thailand or Theravada, there is more on the Arahats, there is self-practice. That means I become Buddha first. Okay, I get the wisdom first. Then that is me. But for the humanistic Buddhism, the difference is after I get all this, I will come back to share with all. Just like our study group now, all of us are the Bodhisattva. That's why we are here. We learn from others, at the same time we help others. I think every time or each topic that we have, I think it's very excited that Amir will be the one ask questions. He really give the people confidence. Not only that, I know that some of the questions he's not asking because he don't know. I know he know the answer. It's just he want to make the whole atmosphere very happy and everybody will feel relaxed to ask questions. Right, Amil? Thank you for your sacrifice. I know that it's not you. I don't think you're confused now. I don't think after the class you go to the Kuan Yin, you go to the Allah, you go to whoever. All the deities. I'm very sure you are not. Right. It's just how we can, where we want to go and who we should choose or which path we should follow. Okay, just read.
Wow.
The Wen Si Xiu, listen, think about it, cultivate and practice it. That is what we have to do all the time. Okay. Is any others would like to add on, which is already 9:26? No. For the new, only one. There's one Judy left. One person left. Okay. So how about last words or last sentence from Professor Mesh before we dedicate the merits?
Thank you very much for inviting me. It's good to be back. Good to see everyone. Thank you, Amitofo.
We'll see you more often for these 2 months.
Hopefully.
Get well soon, Mage. Professor, you're okay now? Better?
Yeah. Just mga 30% itchiness.
Oh, that's very
Thank you.
painful. That's very painful.
The pain, no more not. Thanks.
Good
Because
to
she
know.
has the light already.
Take
Okay.
care, stay safe.
Yes, Uncle Herman, what do you say?
No, I'm asking Dr. Mesh to stay safe.
Stay safe. Yeah. Stay safe, Dr. Mitch.
Oh, because the virus getting worse now everywhere, anywhere. Just go somewhere that you think is safe.
Take refuge.
Yeah, then when times to
Amel is always ready.
after refuge, then choose the place where you want to go when you die. We don't know when we will die. Maybe during this pandemic, and maybe we don't know. Depends on our karma and merit. Okay, so we dedicate the merits.
Okay.
Infinity to benefit all and precepts inspire equality and patience. May our humility and gratitude give rise to great vows.
Picture, turn on your video, please.
Stop sharing. So for the information of our new members, Abin, you have to stop sharing.
Oh, yeah.
For your information, even though this class already starts last year, but when we have the TIKU, when we have the books for the exams, we will split the class because we have different level for understanding of Buddhism. So don't worry, just for these few weeks. If we are not wrong, maybe and last week of June, we will have the books, then that is the time we will split. Or maybe we only split until the end. When is the last class for July for Irving?
Let me check first of all.
Okay.
Last class is July 14.
Oh, there will be 2 more weeks after we get the book. So by the time we will decide if we're going to immediately split it or by the time when everything, then we split the class. Okay, so for the new members, don't need to worry, just listen. Okay, so
Okay, turn on your video. Okay, so still shy, just for picture. Okay, one more, lotus flower. 1, 2, 3. Thank you.
谢谢大家。
Thank
Thank
you,
you,
everybody.
Thank you,
Mary.
everyone. Thank
Thank you,
you.
everyone.
Good night.
Good question.
Question in the good chat is okay.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Okay, thank you, Avin.